fácil.
Good afternoon. I'm calling this meeting to order. It is 5:03 or 4.
02.
Huh?
402.
It's 5:04. 4:04. Well, then, can we get the clock adjusted, please? Thank you. It's 4:04. Calling the meeting to order.
Roll call. Chairman Anker Jensen.
Present.
Vice Chairman Dr. Joe Hinojosa.
Present.
Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez. Secretary Liliana Elizondo.
Present.
Board Member Frank Orozco Jr.
Present.
Board Member Ana O'Quinn. Board Member Benjamin Peña.
Here.
For the record, Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez and Ms. Board Member Ana O'Quinn are absent. Next item, public comment period. There were no comments registered.
Wrong form. Apologies. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much. My name is Rafael Vela, and good to see you all again. I am the Executive Director for Workforce Solutions, Cameron, and I want to take the opportunity because we have the opportunity of given the opportunity later on during the meeting to chat in a different session, but I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce some people to you all so that you're aware. They're not present yet, but we do anticipate that the chairperson of our board, who is B. Lopez, who represents HEB, and a couple of our board members, including Mark Hodgson, who is the president of SA Recycling at the port, Andrea Benton, who represents Next Decade, and Adrian Dorset, who represents the BISD, are 4 members who should be joining us. But as you're aware, none of the work that can be done if it weren't for a dedicated staff. So I want to take an opportunity so that you're aware of the people the professionals that work at Workforce Solutions, Cameron. So I want to take a moment to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, Laura Longoria, our Chief Program Officer, Sally Perez, Marisa Almaraz, who's our Executive Assistant, the Director of Child Care, Lourdes Lopez, and you all might know Graciela Almaraz, Graciela Salazar, my apologies, who is the Director of our Communications team. So thank you very much for your efforts on our behalf and for everything that you do for the citizens of Brownsville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, consent. So sorry, apologize. Consideration and action, if any, of the following items. Approval of the minutes of special workshop and regular board meetings. A, regular, November 13, 2024. B, special, November 20th, 2024. B, acknowledgement regarding the payment of vendors' services invoice to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation for the month of November 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have and the motion passes.
Next item, staff report. Business retention and expansion and workforce development efforts. Business recruitment events and sponsorship. An executive report. Business retention and expansion and workforce development efforts by Ms. Giovanna Rangel.
Good afternoon, board members.
So this past month, I visited and did 4 business retention expansion visits. I also have an update on Project Precision. We are working, actually, they're working on submitting their skills development for small business this month so that they can be able to receive funding from the state for training in-house. Also an update on Project Aquaflow. They're going to be submitting as well their skills development application by this month. They're going to be training 120 of their employees. So we're excited to see if they get awarded beginning of first quarter, hopefully. And the same update is for Project Ironworks. They're also submitting their SDF grant by the end of the month. So we're excited. Hopefully, we start strong the beginning of the year, first quarter, so that they can be awarded these grants. In addition to that, we finalized the BISD recycling project last week. The last high school that participated was Lopez, and it was very successful. We had a lot of great feedback from the students, and they were excited not only to learn the recycling process, right, at SA Recycling, but also get to know what economic development is. We found that through this project, a lot of them obviously don't know what we do, how we impact their community, and they were very excited. And we were excited to know that some of them are really interested in going into this field. So that is exactly what we wanted to do, is inspire them and, of course, bring educational portion in terms of the recycling project that was done. In addition to that, I had a meeting with the Tourism and Economic Development. This was Bronzeville, Matamoros. I met with the Secretario Enrique Salinas and Alan Garcia, who's Director de Industria from Matamoros. They are looking to partner up with us and, see how we can continue to grow together and, of course, work as they are our sister city. So I will be following up with them and reporting back to you all what comes out of that as well. And we recently went up to Austin. We met with, one of the visits with Mr. Aaron Demerson. He's the president and CEO of Texas Economic Development Corporation. And we had a great conversation. They're very excited to work with us as we are part of the Go Big Texas. So we foresee a lot of projects coming for this, new fiscal year. And as we, determine what that's going to look like, we will definitely report to you all. And just part of, the Bienvenidos Committee that I'm a part of, Marlene and I actually attended Kid to Kid ribbon cutting. It was a great success. Lots of people attended. And lastly, Bronzeville Chamber membership mixer that actually happened yesterday. Next slide, please. And just a reminder, we are having our partner appreciation mixer this Friday. We hope that you all can make it and join us. Any questions?
I have one question on that Brownsville Matamoros
Meeting?
Economic. Many months ago or years ago, I guess, I was appointed as one of the representatives with GBIC and then the and Matamoros Economic Development Council of some sort. I only went to one meeting and was never called back. So apparently something happened. So you know what the status of that is? Or?
Well, we have new appointed people on obviously Matamoros. So, they have directed new people that are appointed, Enrique Salinas, which is where we're going to start that, relationship with. So I'm definitely happy to ask and see how that goes and moving forward, what can come out of.
And Mr. Vice Chair, and I'll add that I think that was through CODEM back in the day. So we'll make sure and ask about that and explore that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rangel. Next item, business recruitment by Jerry Briones.
Yes, good afternoon. This last month, since the last board meeting, we've had 22 inquiries of different proportions. We are actually working 5 projects. We've got 3 leads that are still in preliminary discussions, And overall, we had 14 governor's RFIs that came through. On the governor RFIs, we did have one, and that's the one you see with the Port of Brownsville. We should be doing a submittal probably by Tuesday of next week. It is a $200 million project. It's an energy project. So the other ones, we're still pending some site visits. So overall, it looks very good for next year. Any questions? Next slide, please. So in the events, last night, Marcela Sainz, our new marketing and communications person, we attended the UTRGV Nochebuena Social. It was a pretty nice event, well attended, both from the Upper Valley and from Brownsville and surrounding areas. Marcela was happy to have won a door prize. We did speak to several individuals during that during that social event. Next slide. And then following up with what Ms. Joanna was talking about, we did make a visit to Austin. Thanks to Gilbert and several of the connections we had up there. We met with the governor's Texas Economic Development Corporation, Ms. Adriana Cruz, who reports directly to the governor and is the president and CEO of the organization. This is the organization that we get our RFIs from. We managed to give a presentation letting them know all the good things that are happening in Brownsville right now, some of the projects that are coming through the pipeline, an update on the LNGs. We also made some headways with some of their representatives that actually send us the leads, and we work very closely with them. So it turned out to be a very good event. We took them some goodies. They're always appreciative of some of our goodie bags. We met also Mr. Larry McManus, which is, if you're looking at the photo to the far left, he's the second in command, and he's usually the individual that we speak to when things kind of take a wrong turn somewhere. But overall, we came through quite nicely. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Briones. Next item, executive report by Gilberto Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board. Just to kind of add to what Jerry was saying, these RFIs, that number that came through, that's the entity that sends those RFIs to us. Sometimes, usually most of the time it's statewide. And then you have to kind of see if you fit in that one. Sometimes it's regional, or sometimes it's just Gulf Coast communities. And every now and then you'll get one where they call you up and they say, well, either the company's looking at you or we spoke with a company and you happen to be a fit. That actually happened today. So we'll get those like 3-4 times a year. And we like those because it's nobody else is looking at it. They're just looking at one community. As far as prospect activity, we hosted a group of investors from New York last week. As part of the delegation that came from the city of Brownsville, we provided a tour of our industrial areas, took them out to SpaceX as well. Met with some of our local leadership, some of our industry heads, some of y'all were involved in that as well. They were very interested in our vision as far as the next 10 to 20 years, especially the 700 acres that we have out on the north side. That group is quite inquisitive, and they are tentatively scheduled to come back here in the next couple of months. So we'll be preparing for that. The bulk of the work is actually being done right now. The next 3 projects, that's by code name, Project Mustang. Again, that's a project in the category of a game changer. It's got some great job numbers, new construction. It would be a sizable footprint as far as for Brownsville. It is in the tech and logistics sector. You'd be looking at about a 75,000 square foot facility to about 100,000. 100 plus jobs, about $20 to $30 million in capital investment. There's not much movement with the project. There was a couple of months ago, but they are expected to conduct a visit here and then right after the new year. And I think we're still about 4 to 6 months away before they make a final decision as to what community they're going to be investing in. So again, we're excited about that one. It's what I like to call a game changer. Project Razor. That prospect's actually going to be joining us at the Mixer this Friday. It's a company out of the Midwest. They have the market share in their particular sector. They actually manufacture components for the machinery that is used for the food and beverage industry. So, and it's, they do business around the world, especially a lot of it goes into Europe and Africa. They are an advanced manufacturer. They're looking at about a 30,000 square foot facility to start, and then plans of growing, doubling in size in the next 5 to 6 years. It's about 50 jobs over the next 5 years, and about $5 to $7 million in capital investment. Should they choose Brownsville, it would be a state-of-the-art facility. This would be at the North Brownsville Industrial Park, and it's a great investment. And what I love about it is that they have CNC machinery. So I could already see apprenticeship programs, workforce training programs tied to our local school districts. The next one is Project Oxidizing. And I like to refer to this one as a project of significance. It's up there as well as Project Mustang. It's a European firm in the energy sector. We've been working with them for about 6, 7 months now, and it's starting to really gain a lot of traction. We're hopeful that in the next couple of months, they'll be making a decision. They are now starting to inquire about our permitting process, as well as suppliers, and they've started asking about incentives. So that means we're probably down to the final 2 or 3 communities once we start getting at that point. They are going to be visiting next week, actually, meeting with our leadership. That's a good sign. Should they choose Brownsville, they would be locating off of SH 550, creating some very good paying jobs, up to 200 jobs over the next 10 years. Very good paying jobs, actually. And it would be adding to our supply chain, and they would be really expanding our tax base. So that'd be great for our city coffers. First phase is about $100 million in capital investment, and they are planning for a second phase. That would be another 3 to 4 years out. And at that point in time, they would be either doubling or more than doubling their operation, as well as in capital investment. And again, this is what I like to call, it's project significance, and it's going to position Brownsville, knowing that it's a European firm with a very good global presence, and it will set us apart again from many of the other cities here in the Valley. Moving on to other activity, as Giovanna and Jerry mentioned, we were at the office of the governor. The entire team was there actually and presented to their team as well. So that was very important. Myself coming in, we start building those relationships with them because we get a sizable amount of leads from them. And not only that, they'll help you through the entire process. And when it comes to incentives, Brownsville has done a very good job in tapping into some of their incentives and recruiting some of these companies. They also kind of perked up when we mentioned our plans for the industrial park, so that's good. And as a result of that, we were invited to the governor's mansion. That's going to be next week for the holiday celebration. I believe the governor's going to be there, so we're going to have 2 from our team there. And again, this is just part of our relationship marketing initiatives. Industry Mixer, Friday, 60 to 80 of our business leaders. It's a great place to have them come in and network. So if some of y'all could join us, that'd be fantastic. And then mentioned the industrial park. We are working hopefully here on breaking ground here in the next couple of months or next few months. So there's a lot of interest right now as far as what we're doing out there. We already put a sign. So we started to get some calls and some emails in that regard. And so there's, again, huge interest in both shovel-ready land and spec warehousing. And we heard it pretty loud and clear from the governor's office as far as what those companies are looking for. And then here, last thing is media activity. As a result of the last SpaceX launch, we'd had several media inquiries from major national outlets. We had the New York Times reporting on that, so they wanted someone from our office to quote on to talk to that effect. USA Today, that just happened a couple of days ago as well. And then Germany's largest newspaper, forgot the name, but it's their largest newspaper. They were in town as well, covering the whole SpaceX deal. And anytime we can get Brownsville on there, I mean, it's just that kind of coverage. It's what we need as far as the narrative and being able to tell our story as far as what we're doing in Brownsville, especially for inbound investment. And I like to say that there's some science that goes into what we do in economic development, and that's actually one of the tactics and strategies. So we've been busy in closing. Come January, we're going to be much busier. We know that. Hopeful that there will be a couple of good announcements here in the first quarter, and that'll create a much needed spark as far as helping launch our industrial park and helping spur development on the northern city limits. Happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question. Has there been any feedback from some of these potential companies about the possibility of the 25% tariff increase for Mexico and Canada on wanting to hold back and see how that might affect the economy?
Not from prospects. Like local and developers out of the Dallas area, they would ask. But as far as the prospects, no. I mean, they've already, by the time we start working a prospect, they've done the bulk of their work. So they've already answered some of those questions. So it usually does not come up. I'm not saying it won't, but it hasn't. And on the flip side, as a result of that, unscientific survey, right? But right after that, we actually started getting a little bit more activity. Not too sure if there's a correlation there or not, but that's what we're seeing.
Okay, I was just a little concerned because I was watching the individual with the Economic Development Corporation for Mission, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And he was stating that based on this possibility of the tariff increase, some of those companies that were looking at Mission have backed down until they find out more what was going to be happening. So I just wanted to find out if we were experiencing anything like that.
Have not seen it. Not saying it will not. But kind of taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, I think maybe the difference is some of the companies that they're working over there are companies that maybe their wages are not as high.
Yeah.
So that they would take a hit. The companies that we're working, their wages are pretty high. And a lot of them have to be here because of a couple of companies that are here already. So basically they're like, we just need to be there. So that's kind of like, I think, an indicator as far as maybe, and I have to be careful how I say this, but just the kind of companies that we're working this part of the valley versus the upper valley. Again, just from what I can gather.
Okay, and I just thank you for those remarks, and I just wanted to give you the reason why I was asking based on that. I think his name is Garcia, Mr. Garcia, Telco Garcia. I'm up in Mission. That had stated that, so I just get a little concerned with us down here.
He's a friend of mine. We go way back. I'll call him tomorrow.
Hey, you seem like a good guy, but
I'll call him. We'll see what he's talking about.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's all my question.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for Gilbert? Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Next item, discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation Financials and Quarterly Investment Report, presented by Salvador Villalpando.
Good afternoon, Board. Today we're going to go over the financials for GBIC as of November, 2 months into the fiscal year. Our total assets are currently $41 million, with $2,000 in cash, $26.5 million in investments, $595,000 in receivables, which is the sales tax for October, and $13.8 million in capital assets. Liabilities are $100,000, and that translates to a net position of $40.9 million. On the right-hand side here of the slide, we have a visual breakdown of what our net position looks like. So our net position is $40.9 million, and that consists of two funds that we have for GBIC. We have an operating fund at $27.1 million, which accounts for basically our day-to-day activities, payroll, accounts payable, et cetera. And then we have a capital asset fund at $13.8 million. Our operating fund is broken down further into $2.2 million in designated, which is all of our contractual commitments, and $24.9 million in undesignated funds. Next slide, please. On this side here, we have a budget to actuals for the first 2 months. Not much activity, but there is some. Sales tax is at $599,000, and that's just the first month of the fiscal year. We're still pending November, which will be released next month. Interest, $203,000, which is pretty good, $100,000 per month. $2,000 in sponsorships, that was for the BTX Developers Tour events, and then $79 in miscellaneous revenues. Expenditures are $548,000, with $229,000 in operating and $318,000 in initiatives, mostly coming from the industrial parks. Overall, we have a surplus of $256,000 for the first 2 months of the fiscal year. And again, that's still pending the revenues for November, which is the sales tax. Lastly, we have a comparison of the sales tax between October of this year and last year. Collections for this fiscal year for October were $600,000, which is about a 4.6% increase compared to the previous fiscal year. And then annually, that translates to about almost $8 million in sales tax for the fiscal year. Compared to last year, we were at $7.6 million. Any questions?
Any questions for Sal? I have
Excellent
a-
report.
Are you done, Sal? Are you?
Yes.
Motion to acknowledge?
You need
I need a motion to
Need a
acknowledge the
I'll
finance.
motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villalpando. Next item, closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.087, related to Project Industrial, Project Oxidizing, Project Racer, pending and upcoming litigation matters, possible action on consultation with attorney regarding pending potential and/or contemplated legal matters subject to the attorney-client privilege under the authority of the Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071, Government Code. I need a
I need a
motion.
motion to go to executive session.
So moved.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Ayes have it, we go into executive session. There was no changes to the last minutes, right? They're very comprehensive. Huh? They're very comprehensive, the minutes.
Convene, thank you.
Okay, I've got a motion to reconvene. open
Second.
Session. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're back in open session. We wanted to hear from Texas Workforce Commission, but we have to do it in open session. Thank you.
To guide our conversation, some background material, and we shouldn't take but a couple of minutes. So thank you for the opportunity. I send regards from Brian Daniel, the chairperson of the Texas Workforce Commission, the two other commissioners, our 27 board members. We are one of 28 workforce boards from across the state of Texas. And we are, let me just get to to make the most time of the board. We are prohibited from owning property. All of the 28 workforce boards are prohibited. So in our case, we are one of the 4 or 5 boards across the state that lease from the Texas Workforce Commission. So the building that's located on Old Alice, we have 2 full-service workforce centers. One of them is in Harlingen, and the other one is the one that we're talking about today on Old Alice. When I began back in the fall, there was an organization in the Valley that had presented themselves as interested in acquiring the building. But that negotiation, that wasn't a negotiation, that opportunity fell through the cracks, if you will. And so as soon as that happened, we had to find other alternatives. TWC has indicated about 5 years ago that they would divest themselves of any property that they own. And so March 31st of 2025, the building that's located at Old Alice will go on the open market. And because we can't own buildings, we have to find an alternative. So I don't know whether or not the board is in receipt of the documentation that I sent. I think I sent it to the chair, but does the board have it?
Yes, you did.
I don't want to repeat out of the interest of time. Okay. So the two full-service centers in Cameron County, the one in Harlingen and one in the Brownsville, provide essential skills, essential services. We know that because during COVID, the governor declared the workforce boards as essential. And so we manned, even though it was before my time, I've been around a little less than a year, but those facilities were open to the public. So we provide skill training, and we have two customers, job seekers and employers. Those job seekers include, by the way, last year in 2023, we tended to 16,000 individuals who came in for either job seeker services or employers, I think a little less than 1,000 if I'm not mistaken. We, in that building today, every year, we tend to Brownsville veterans, individuals with disabilities, youth, dislocated workers, individuals who were previously incarcerated. We facilitate apprenticeships, internships, a robust child care program that requires a full weekend to talk about. But our objective is to make sure that there are no impediments to an individual looking for work. And childcare, as you all know, is very expensive. So what we do is help those individuals who need help with childcare. We help non-custodial parents. We have a team of career coaches that teach soft skills, job readiness, hard skills, resume writing, everything that an individual needs to enter the workforce. That is what we do. With regard to employers, we have a business services unit that supports job fairs, career fairs, job postings, externships. We have a website called Work in Texas that individuals can go log on to along with our employers to kind of connect to each other. You all were successful in the Chipotle franchise, correct? In bringing them here. Gilbert, I think that was before your time. You can't take credit for that. All right. But they were in need of space to do their interviews, and they did that at our facility. So it is a robust amount of work that goes on at our workforce centers. All this happens. So if you'll turn to the image of the building that we're talking about, we are in 18,000 square feet. The building on Old Alice is 18,000 square feet. And our proposal, as you see in front of you, is to partner with GBIC to expand the facility, to incorporate training space that's specifically for training for individuals for jobs that are on the radar screen, are important for the people in our community. So what you have in front of you are images that show what the building might look like if there were to be a partnership that we engaged into, and the space that it would, that 18,000 feet, we'd expand it somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 square feet. So also attached to in your packet is the financial component of this. So we went out and we tried to find out what is the square footage, the cost for construction, and that ranges anywhere from, it's kind of all over the map, from $150 to $250 a square foot, depending on what part of the city or who you engage. Does that sound, you're nodding your head, Mr. Pena, does that sound about right? So we went about 185. So you'll see two different scenarios there. One that increases the size of the building by 10,000 square feet, and another that increases the building by 5,000 square feet, and the budget that goes along with it. The building was built in 1996, so it is in need of repairs. You'll see a line item there that speaks specifically to what our estimate is to increase or to HVAC, things like that, painting. It just needs to be tended to. There's also technology upgrades that we have incorporated into the Harlingen facility. So you'll see those technology upgrades there. Those are estimates, but we have a pretty good idea because we do this. We've done it in the past, that budget is pretty close to what it would cost to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish together.
Mr. Vela, just so you know, right now we can only receive.
One way.
funds.
Understand. So the proposal as in the previous package is to partner with GBIC and to expand the building, the benefits we've listed there in your packet. You have copies of our mission statements, and if you read them both, we believe that they're aligned with each other. We're in the business of workforce. We've been doing this for generations, and we feel like right now there is an initiative at the state level to integrate workforce development entities as well as EDCs. Because all of the things that are initiatives for GBIC require an integration with workforce. And so that may be stating the obvious, but the individuals behind me and the 145 employees for Workforce Solutions, Cameron, are very dedicated to that purpose. So we believe that it is a partnership that can yield very important things for the people that we serve. But we do understand also that it needs to be a mutual agreement and a mutual objectives. So know that our team, our board is committed to expanding on this should the opportunity arise. And know that I'm available and anybody in our team are available to expand. Mr. Salinas and I have met already to talk about this, and we've communicated about this project. And this has kind of been on the radar screen for about 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more. So I stand ready, and I know we can't do this right now, but please know we're committed to communicating in a manner that's appropriate at a time that the board is comfortable with.
Thank you, Mr. Vela.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vela. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can really ask questions. Sorry.
And just for the record, that was under the public comment period, the board agreed to waive the 3-minute time limit. And so with that, we would need another motion to return into executive.
Motion. Second.
In discussion, all those, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We're going back into executive session.
Is it for us? Ah. The what now?
Yo pensé que era esto. Inside the box. I thought. Leanna told me it was just, it's high and some.
All right, this for sale now?
Give it like that. I don't. So this is standard dress from now on.
Ah.
Yeah, and me too.
Okay.
Okay, I need a
make
motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reconvene. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, we are in session.
Next item, consideration and action, if any, including but not limited to the adoption of board resolutions related to items discussed in executive session. Project Industrial.
Chairman.
Oh, sorry. Project Oxidizing, pending and upcoming litigation matters, possible action on consultation with attorney regarding pending potential contemplated legal matters subject to the attorney-client privilege under the authority to the Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071, Government Code.
Chairman, I'm going to request a motion for item 1.1 to proceed as directed in executive. For item 1.2, to adopt a resolution waiving certain provisions of the Declaration of Restricted Covenants regarding the North Brownsville Industrial Park subdivision to facilitate the development of Project Oxidizing, authorizing necessary actions for the replatting and adjustment of Lot 7 and addressing related matters. Sorry?
Lot 6.
Lot 6. Right. And so I'll redact that to Lot 6. For item 1.3, proceed as directed in executive. For item 1.4, proceed as directed in executive. And for item 1.5, proceed as directed in executive.
Okay, you heard the motion. Do I have
I'll make that motion. I make the motion.
and can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions?
Did we talk about 1.3 in executive? Okay, so take that one.
No action.
So can we amend the motion to remove that one since we didn't discuss it?
I move to amend the motion.
1.3.
So item 1.3 is no discussion, no action.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll second the amended motion.
Oh, we got a motion and a second to the amended motion. Any discussions on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion passes. Thank you. Now we need a motion to adjourn. I know it's a difficult one.
Make the motion to adjourn?
Second. Do I have a second or no? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, guys, for coming. Appreciate it. And thank you for my new tie.
Can you sign?
The resolution and